welcome to another lesson. I'm Brett Papa. Actually, it was another lick of the day. Well, this is what the problem is. There's no coffee. Here we go. Welcome to another lick of the day. I am Brett Papa. See, that one flowed. It's the coffee. It's all you need. And today is going to be where we combined all of our previous lick of the days together, at least like the last three, where we've been talking about Hendrixisms and double stops. Today's is going to be combining the major and the minor chords together in a progression and using double stops like you might hear in, Bold as Love, Little Wing, or even songs like Yellow Ledbetter, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Lenny, all these just amazing double stop masterpieces. Okay, so major chords. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the chords, each of the chords in two spots. So E chord, E chord. All right, C sharp minor, C sharp minor. All right, maybe we'll do B, A. And that just gives us a little bit of variance, right, in the types of things that we can do. So for instance, when I come in, like the progression is just going to be basically E, C sharp minor, B, and then I'll drop down to the lower E, right? So on the first E, remember, I think about when I do these chords, right? The A string down, so our root is going to be on the A string 7th fret. That's when I kind of like to think of this pentatonic shape right behind that chord. And what it really comes from is the kind of the G shape of our E chord that's in the cage system. Right, so if you imagine what an open position G chord looks like, right? If we have our finger on the root note of E, and then I use this little kind of capo trick, you can get all those just sick double stops, right? But to simplify that, you can also think of it as, the major pentatonic, right? If we're in E, the major pentatonic position 1 being right behind this chord. Okay, so I might, right, you slide in maybe on the A string 9 to 11, and then maybe our first double stops on the root note in the 5th chord, and then maybe we hammer up to that, D11, and then a lot of times I'll roll over, and then hit it again, so the double stop doesn't change, just the note that you hammer on does. Right, so you can do something like that, or you can go up higher. Right, but it's typically more like a, right, so that would be a double stop and just sliding both notes up. Because remember, if we're talking about our pentatonic shape, remember we have those notes right on top of each other. Now, the next chord is C sharp minor, and what's great about that is, remember when we were talking about our minor chords, right? Playing that pentatonic position 1 right under those, where the root's on the 6th string. That's just an easy way to think about it, right? Now, in this particular instance, it's great because C sharp minor is basically that E major pentatonic scale too, so we don't even have to move. Right? Now what I might do to change it up is now I'll go up to those, right, the higher parts of the pentatonic scale. And then, right? And do something like that. Right? Now if you're unclear about this, remember, just go back to the previous licks of the day and go over the one that talks about major chord double stops and the one that talks about minor chord double stops. And that'll kind of be the refresher, right? To get you back on track. So one of the things I didn't talk about much, right? So that was our E, our C sharp minor. Our next chord is going to be chord, and this is, you know, those typical... I didn't do much of that when I talked about the major chords for some reason. So check this out. When you got the major chord, and you can do it like this, right? Go down and remember how I said it was kind of where that position 2 is of major, right? Underneath that. So check it out. You got those notes right there. Love doing that. And then you can make the chord suspended. Right, so come down here to the A major chord, I don't want to do the same thing, right? I don't want to do that same... I could just very well go and do that, but I chose to do more of the lower kind of double stops, right? So that would be on the E. Remember, when you're on this version, right, where the root note is on the low E, you can also go behind the chord and you have these 2 frets, right? So you have 7 and 9, and you can do a lot of double stops in that area. You know, you can maybe slide in and do that kind of stuff. Right, and we're you know, playing off the double stops again, the 5th and the root of the chord a lot. Right, so you got that. Now at that point, I'm going to drop down to an E chord again. And this is where I might play with that same kind of thing we did up here. It's a cool sound. Now when I go to the C sharp minor here, right? Remember, we can think about position 4 of that pentatonic shape, kind of being underneath that chord. But we can also break up, right? I can take the 3rd and the root. I'm sorry, I was hitting the root saying 3rd, but you know what I mean. There we go. So the 3rd and the root, and then drop it down, right? So the double stop is actually on the 4th fret as well of the G and B. And do sort of a sliding double stop, more R&B-ish. I actually heard that in like a Randy Rhoads song too. I think it was an Ozzy song, but what was it? Goodbye to Romance. Great song. God, Randy was freaking awesome. Okay, so we got... I think he does that in Suicide Solution too, or Mr. Crowley maybe. Check him out. If you... Just side note, whoosh, if you haven't listened to Ozzy Randy Rhoads tribute, it's a live album. If you haven't heard that album and you're a guitar player, you gotta go buy it today. It's so freaking good. All right, so anyways, it's my album recommendation for the day. Okay, now you can do something like that. And then I'm going to drop down to B. Right? And just play that same kind of thing like we did up here with this E. We'll do the same thing with the B. And then to A. Now this is where I'll do something different. I'll actually jump up to where this A is and maybe use some of its... Maybe do a double stop here, right? Or double stop like that. And then go to where I'm hitting the 5th and hammering into the 3rd. But since I'm going into an E chord, I'm going to drop down an E major pentatonic and lead into the next chord. Third to major third. approach with Hendrix. Now, it's not a double stop, it's a quadruple stop. It's a chord. But you can keep the same chord and experiment with sliding it around. And it sounds really awesome when there's open strings involved too. Sometimes it'll all work, but Angel, perfect example of taking one chord, sliding all over the neck. Lenny from Stevie Ray Vaughan, same kind of thing, but it sounds great to do with double stops. So check it out. Got this E. I'm gonna drop my little finger right here, and we're gonna keep this whole shape. Move it up a whole step. Right? Another whole step. Move it up 3, so a step and a half. Another whole step. And then maybe back down to or. So just play around with your chords. And just throw it completely out of Hendrix land and add a chord like that at the very end, right? But the whole thing is, it doesn't just have to be a Hendrix idea, right? There's tons of guys that did it. Steve Cropper, all these amazing R&B guys that did it, you know, alongside Hendrix, before Hendrix, after Hendrix. They use it in every kind of music today. Jazz, country, rock, metal, like I said, Aussie, you know, all sorts of stuff, blues, right? So really kind of think about it, because again, it's a great way when you're playing rhythm to actually be working on your lead at the same time, and you'll see how that happens, because it helps you to think about playing over the chords, you know, the really important things we're supposed to remember. And it will bleed over into your lead playing as well. I got way better at playing major pentatonic when I started learning Jimi Hendrix songs with the double stops, because you see how he moves melodies and pays attention and plays out of the chord shapes rather than, you know, thinking about just a scale. All right, so that is the lick of the day. Thank you for joining me. Don't be afraid to check out brettpapa.com over there. That funds this whole operation, and if you like this kind of stuff, goes super deep. You can also find all of the licks of the day I've done there. So check back on the site. Tons of free content posted on my website as well all the time. There's also the subscribe button. Click the bell to be notified. I post at least 3 times a week. And then over here, I'll leave another playlist of some sort or two. Thank you so much for the continued support. We'll catch you next time.